Boker Tov. We're continuing with the halachot of the Pirkei Avot, Perek Daled, now Mishnah Vav. The Mishnah says, "Ve'vi magdim b'shlom kol adam." You should always preempt and always say shalom to everybody. The Mishnah Brachot, Perek Mishnah He says, "V'itkinu sheyeh adam shoel et shlom chavero b'shem." That we actually came and we instituted that you're going to say shalom to everybody with the name of Hashem. Rashi explains in the Gemara Masechet Makot of Gimel Amud Bet two different reasons for the takana. Some people say in order, kedei larbot ahava v'achva ben habriot, which means that in order to come and to enhance the friendship and the love, the harmony that we have between people, and therefore they came and they permitted to use the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Shalom. And it's also brought down in the Rabbeinu Yonah over there, shetzrichim lagdim b'shlom kol adam mishum darkei musar. So he comes and he says another reason is that the name of Hashem should always be murgal ben habriot. It should always be used by the human beings. And just like the Ritva brings down that they forgot the name of Hashem, and therefore they came and they started mentioning the Shem of Hashem by saying Shalom to every single human being. Rav Hai Gaon actually says it was another reason that the Minim, the heretics, they started using the name of Hashem b'shituf, which means that they started using a name that as if that there's going to be two different gods or a partnership, whether it's going to be a trinity or other things of different gods. And therefore what the rabbis instituted is that we should always have the name of Hashem in our mouths. And therefore it's brought down in the Sefer Mishpatei Shalom that a person should be very careful to say Shalom and not Boker Tov. He says why? Because that way he's doing the Takanat Chachamim. But he says, however though, right, to a goy it's better not to say Shalom, right? Or you should not have kavanah on the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means to a goy you should say Boker Tov, good morning, or any other thing. The Ketav Tshuvat Vanagot, that there actually should be machmir like that. And also there's going to be a concept that if a person is going Bigilui Rosh, which means that he doesn't have a head covering, it's better to tell him Boker Tov than to say Shalom. Because if you're going to say Shalom, he's going to answer you. He's saying the name of Hashem, Bigilui Rosh, with his head revealed. And therefore it's better not to tell him Shalom, but rather Boker Tov. The Rambam brings down in Hilchot Deot Perekei Halacha Zayin, he brings this concept of Magdim B'Shlom Kol Adam. He brings it one of the Ma'alot of a Tamil Chacham. Rabbeinu Yonah brings it in several years that it's for everybody. And then it's brought down in Gilunei Hashas that obviously a person should come and try to give Shalom to everyone, even if you do not know them. But he didn't bring it down as a Chiyuv Medina if you don't actually know them. Now, something very interesting is the two different halachot. Number one, shetzarich Adam liten Shalom lechavero bepeh maleh. There's a Midrash Tanchuma, which means that if you're already saying good morning to someone and you're telling them Shalom, you should say it nicely. Right? Bepeh maleh, not just like you're mumbling or whatever it is. You say it nicely, you say the Shalom. The Marshak, she says in the Gemara Masechet Berachot over there, Hayodea bechavero sharagil liten lo Shalom, shim en makiro lo yakdim lo Shalom, shema yikashlu shelo yaneh lo, v'yikra gazlan. There the Gemara says that if a person comes and he says Shalom and you don't answer them, you're considered a thief. Because a poor person, he has nothing else other than to say Shalom. So what can you steal already from them? You can't steal from a poor person. He says, you know what you could steal from a poor person? His greetings. If he's going to greet you and you're not going to answer him, so that's called that you're stealing. So the Marshak comes and he says, you should be very careful that if you think that this person is not going to answer you, don't even bother telling him Shalom. Because if you're going to come and tell him Shalom, and then he's not going to answer you, right now he's considered a gazlan, he's considered that he just stole from you. So certain cases you're not going to come and you're not going to say Shalom. However, though, if a person does come and tell you Shalom, alav lachpil lo velomar lo Shalom Shalom. Interestingly enough, this is brought down in Shulchan Aruch in Yoreh Deah Siman Kuf Memchet Sif Yod, which means that if somebody already comes and he tells you Shalom, you answer, you give them a bracha back double. Say Shalom, Shalom. You give them back twice the Shalom. So he says, right, and they actually said on Echad Migdolei Yisrael, shetarmid ichpil bebracha. Derech Mashal, he says, when a person comes and he says Chodesh Tov, and after then we say Shavua Tov also as well. Or at the beginning of the year they used to say Shana Tova, right, Vesof Shana Shamarak Shavua Tov. So he always used to add on whatever a bracha that you would give to me, we would always add on, as long as you're just giving it back. You're giving it back and you're adding on. So you'd say Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov, or whatever. Shavua Tov, Yom Tov. Whichever one that it is, you're coming to always add on into the bracha that people are coming and they are giving it as well. Now, to do with the entire concept of, right, Shalom, right? There's a whole question here about what about sheyesh lakel bazeh. Would Rosh Hashanah ben Orbach want to say that nowadays maybe it could be mekel, that you don't have to actually be so makpid on this anymore, because it could be that since they don't have a real kavanah in Hashem, so maybe it could be a little bit more lenient. However, though, he comes and he says, right, in the Shul B'Tzelach Chochmah, what about saying shalom to a woman? There he comes and he says you're allowed to say for sure boker tov, or you could even say shalom stam im en kavanato lidrosh b'shalom, and it's also brought down in Minchat Yitzchak. Because obviously if it says al tabes sicha ma'isha, can you come and now say shalom to a woman? However, though, it's actually brought down in a sefer, right, of Kiddushatot, of a bayit, Kiddushat bayit. He comes and he says, from silver, he comes and he says something very interesting. He says it all depends on the minhag of the place. Meaning in Eretz Yisrael, if you're going to come to a woman, you're going to say shalom, it looks like, what are you trying to do over here? However, though, in other places in the world where it's normal and the opposite, they would get offensive if you don't say shalom. So you're not coming and saying shalom because you're trying to start a conversation. You're just saying shalom to be having greetings, just to be nice to a person of manners and etiquette. And therefore, whatever is going to be minhag of the makom, it would actually be permitted. So that's very important just also to have in mind that, again, to be magdim shalom, it's very important to come and to always greet people in order, especially in a Bet Knesset. Here you don't have both problems, but the person should just pay attention that they're always saying shalom to people, or to even to be machpil shalom, in order that Bezrat Hashem we're going to be marbeh shalom b'kol adam Bezrat Hashem.